homeownership. We are a modern spin on the traditional rent-to-own homeownership program. So it comes with what is rent-to-own. It hasn't been successful historically. We're going to explain to you how we have put a positive and successful spin on it. When you walk out of this meeting, I hope there's three things that you think about. You think about the opportunities there are with the current challenges in the market by partnering with Landis. You think about ways that you can grow your business and partner with Landis, and you're ready to invite your first client with us. So obviously we all know, and you know, being an agent, that the market's shifting. There's sort of uncertain times from people. There's so much on the media, the news. Buying a home is the largest financial decision for the most part, I guess, except if you pay for a very expensive wedding, but I hope that the home is more expensive than that. But it's the largest financial decision people make. And they become skeptical when they read about different news stories and in the media that interest rates are going up and all the negatives that are out there. It's causing people who thought about becoming homeowners to not think about it anymore and to just wait it out, maybe continue paying rent. And this is a challenge from an overall perspective. As you just think about all the great things that homeownership creates, homeowners are 40 times wealthier than that of renters. And many renters just go through this continuous cycle of throwing their money towards rent and never having the opportunity to become homeowners. Some of them want to stay as renters. They loved the COVID period where they can go and get up and go wherever they wanted to. Others truly want that place to raise their family, a place to call home, and a place to raise their kids. And on top of all that, in the current conditions, housing payments are devouring people's income. Since 2006, it's at the highest level of over 44% of people's income is going towards housing payments right now. I think of this as like, how the heck do you save money right now? How do you do anything in today's world? I think we all feel it in our pockets and we all think about it. And everything is more expensive. And since 2006, these are the highest levels. And with that comes changing of buyers' behaviors and changing of the agents' behaviors as well to some degree. Buyers now, they want that market to stabilize. There's too much uncertainty, too much negativity, too many things to worry about to make such a large financial decision. Many buyers are settling for homes that are below their budget levels that they essentially wanted. So now it's maybe a short-term home for them versus that long-term opportunity. And maybe they feel trapped. So they just keep renting, going through that continuous cycle. At the end of the day, giving up on that dream of home ownership. I've sat in so many meetings over the past 3 months where agents will come up to me or just tell us generally, they've never done lead generation during the period of COVID. And if someone was an agent that just got their license 2 years ago, they've never even had to do lead gen because buyers were coming to them. It was much easier. And so agents' behaviors are also shifting to meet the market needs, to meet the market demands, and drive their business forward. And with all this, there's fewer home buyers, and we all know that. And that's where we really want to be able to help. Our mission at Landis is to guide people on their unique path to homeownership. And with this, we want to empower agents, empower home buyers during uncertain times like this and provide more certainty, provide people with that opportunity to become a homeowner, regardless of where sort of life has taken them, regardless of what sort of circumstances have sort of gotten them to this point. We're able to help people and create home ownership for them. And we're creating this whole new client set. So when you're thinking about who could be a right client for Landis, there's been sort of traditional buyers with us. And now there's all this whole new market segment that agents are using us for. It's people who are thinking about the rising interest rates, people who don't necessarily have the budgets that they wanted to originally. It's folks that don't have as much cash on hand anymore, maybe don't have that money for the down payment, which is required. Obviously, an important part is the savings. And we just talked about how housing payments in general are just causing people to put that much more into housing versus things like purchasing a home. And there's the pricing stability. People want to know whether their home price will go up, or they're scared of, will this house go up over the next year? Will it go down? I've read this, I've read that, and they want the education, but they also want the stability. Understand what will their price be in a couple of years. And then it's the people who always say, maybe next year, right now wasn't the right time. These are all folks that we can help. We can help people with stability by entering them into our program. They understand the exact costs, which will happen over the next 1 to 2 years. We won't require the full down payment. We'll help people save to get to the point of down payment, and we'll help lock people into certain rates. And we'll provide them certainty, as I said, in uncertain times. And this is in addition to all the traditional folks that we can help with our program. We're going to walk through the exact criteria in a second, but the folks that we've traditionally helped are first-time home buyers, people that maybe have had a past bankruptcy and can't get approved for a mortgage today. Maybe it's the realtor sitting next to you, people that, like Glynis, who we have in North Carolina. She owns her own business, makes a great income, but needed a couple years to actually show the income in order to get approved for a mortgage, so entered into our program. A lot of times folks could be maybe divorcees, maybe going through something over the past year and looking to move their family into a home that they can now restart their lives in. And it's oftentimes people with a new job as well. Folks that just started a job, don't necessarily have the required amount of time at a particular employer, and just need that time, need that extra year to get to the point of getting approved for a mortgage. So when you think about our program, the way it works is we will purchase a home for someone. They will then rent it from us over a 12 to 24 month period. We'll provide them the financial coaching. We'll get them all the way to the point of home ownership over that period of time. And so when you're thinking about what is the exact criteria of who can enter into our program, folks that aren't necessarily qualified today, but plus all the people that we just talked about, we're scared of the current market conditions. So if you think about folks that are 550 credit score, all the people that maybe aren't qualified for a mortgage, our typical income of folks that enter into our program are $55,000 to $110,000 in average income. Now, you may see some things as you go through our curriculum that says $30,000 of minimum income. In today's market, obviously with the home prices going up, we try to provide the average because most people want homes in a minimum of $200,000 to $300,000. So we give the income of folks that would get approved for that amount. We do require 2 to 3% in savings for folks. Once they enter into our program, they would need to put down 2 to 3% in savings. So if they purchase a $300,000 home, this would mean that they need to provide $6,000 to $9,000 in savings when they initially make an offer with us. The reason for this is we're helping them get on the way to becoming mortgage eligible. And this is just a starting point for us. We have a full underwriting criteria. We look at things like DTI. We provide you as much transparency as possible through this process and give you all the information you need to ensure you're successful when you partner with Landis. And that includes giving you estimated home budgets. We want to set the client expectations as early as possible with you, meaning if they have $70,000 in income and no monthly debt, a typical approval amount would be $275,000. We have found that the more expectations you can set with the client, the easier your job will be as an agent and the better experience the client will have as they go through our process. I'm not going to hit on this too much because all of this information will sit on our portal and we'll take you through exactly how to get there along the way. But we purchase homes up to $500,000, optimally built after 1978. If it's not, we have an approval criteria where you'll send in a property and seek the approval on it if it doesn't fit the exact criteria. Single family homes or townhomes, no condos, modular or manufactured homes. And we look for move-in ready. The reason being is we want this to be a long-term home for your client. So we want them to be move-in ready. Obviously, during the COVID period, things like as is was much more important. But luckily now with terms being different now, move-in ready is great for both sides. And we have a full coverage map, which will also sits in our portal and you can look through, but typically urban areas. And you can always look through this after the meeting once you log into the portal for the first time. From an agent perspective, I'd love to just go through what our top agents say from the feedback that we received in terms of what makes this a great experience for them. Landis will pay all cash and we close within 21 days. So with, in July, 16% of offers were walked away from. which means that the all cash offer will continue to move to the top of the stack, and closing within 21 days provides great terms for buyers who often wouldn't have the ability to get these kinds of terms. For you as the agent, it creates a brand new pipeline, a new market segment for you, a whole new client set for you to both do lead gen with, and a whole new client set that you can work with that you may have had to turn away from. And we have a team that walks your clients through the process, an 800 line, making sure we're responsive as much as possible. For agents, you have a dedicated team as well, but we find it even more important to make sure clients understand each step of the process and can be handheld throughout that way. We provide you as the agent's trainings. We have Landis U, which is customized videos for every step of the process, including our agent certification process, which is less than a half hour, and you take the course and it'll take you through every single step of our process. And for you as the agents, it's faster commissions as well. So as soon as Landis closes on the home on behalf of your client, you get paid your commission. So for folks that maybe couldn't, that would never have closed, or that were stalling through a process because they were waiting until next year, you'll get paid your commission as fast as possible, meaning once Landis closes on the home, you get your normal commission process along the way. And what's really important to us, and for you as well, is we provide coaching to every single client that enters into our program. So when we talked about a modern twist on the rent-to-own program, this is truly what differentiates Landis to ensure that we create home ownership by providing financial plans, guidance, and really accountability for our clients to get them to the point of where they want to go. That coaching program is truly something that differentiates and helps our clients, all leading up to 80%. 80% of the clients that enter into our program become homeowners. And for you as agents, that means that your reputation is always at risk. And always, if we couldn't get the clients to that point of homeownership, it could be a false expectation that you set with a client. But we truly value that, and it's something we care deeply about. And it hopefully leads to future referrals for you as well. And not to mention, you get alignment with the NAR, Jay-Z, and Will Smith, all of which are also investors in Landis. So just hypothetically here, we have agents who are closing over 20 transactions with us annually. We hope a few of you can get there. Obviously, with adjusted estimated gross commission income, that equates to over $180,000 annually. But the good news is we don't just consider people who close 20 transactions with us annually our top partners. It's really about 6+ closings is where we say you are a top partner of ours, and there comes perks with that as well. So if you close 6 transactions annually, an estimated sale price of $300,000, there's a potential for $54,000 in additional gross commission income. And hopefully that is exciting as well. So if you have not received an invitation to sign up for our portal yet, you will directly after this meeting. We hope that you can sign in. Has anyone received the invitation yet? I'm not seeing any hands raised, but hopefully, go ahead.
We got a yes.
Yes.
And they're going out now.
Awesome. So if you can log in right now. This is going to be your go-to resource for all things Landis. If you click on, once you've logged in, I'll just pause here or talk slow for a second here. If you click on the left toggle bar, there's going to be a section that says invite a client. Hopefully 1 or 2 of you are thinking about a client right now that you can invite. The application is free. It's a soft credit pull. And your client, once they sign in and sign up, they'll get a pre-qualification response typically within minutes. Unless there's something in question, then we have to double check it, and it'll be less than 24 hours. So is anyone thinking of a client right now and referred their first client? I'm sure you're saying it to yourself. I already have done it. I heard a yes, or maybe I just hear voices in my head. Either way, it's totally fine. We have a thumbs up. I love it. I love it. Inside this portal as well, you're going to have all the key information about Landis. You're going to have information about where we operate. You're going to have that underwriting criteria that we spoke about. This is going to be your CRM. It's going to act as your full understanding of where your clients are on the journey. We try to provide as much transparency as possible. If a client can't join our program today, but this is going to be sort of your go-to resource for all things Landis. And so once you've invited your first client, we want to make sure that client and you have a great experience. So learn.landis.com, which is also going to be linked within the portal, is going to be your place to get certified for Landis. That's a 30-minute course, as long as many other great educational courses on every step of the process. We even have lead gen courses for you to learn about how our process works and to empower you to be a great partner with us and grow your business as well. Our team is local. That is Jasmine. She's also on here as well. Looks as great in the photo as she does in person. So it's not a staged photo or anything like that. Everything we do here is authentic. So she's based in Tampa. All of her contact information is on here. If you're outside of the Florida market, I know we're doing a presentation for Georgia as well, but if there's anyone on here that's outside of the market, you can email us at partners@landis.com. And we can connect you with our local representative. And what's really important to us is the experience that our agents and our partners go through, and making sure that we create home ownership. And that includes empowering you as agents, educating you, making sure our clients have great experience, which is why we list our Trustpilot review, because we believe this is really important, is making sure people have a great experience as they go through every step of the process. So as we finish up here, we are happy to answer any questions you might have. We have Katie and Jasmine, who are, once again, way more intelligent, better spoken than I am. So they will more than likely be answering the questions for you. We have one question.
Yes.
Martha?
Yes, good afternoon. Let me ask you this. Let's say there is a client, first-time buyer, and he has and he's looking for a price higher than 500. Let's say that higher than 500, and he has maybe a higher savings. So what would be the interest rate that you would give somebody possibly with good credit?
Yeah, so we are going to lock in everything from the purchase price. We are not a mortgage company. So at the end of our program, they can purchase the home back from us at any point. And then they would get their own mortgage. So we have 12-month or 24-month programs. As soon as they become mortgage ready, they can then purchase the home back from us. If it's within the first year, it's 4% above the original appraised value. That's the only charge that the only price that they will pay throughout the program. And then if it goes into the second year, so up to 24 months, then it goes an additional 4%, but that only gets added 1% quarterly. So if it's within 14 months, it's 5% above the original appraised value. But then they would get their own mortgage on their own.
Oh, okay, so it means their cost to work with you, it would be that the price of the property would be over 400 over the price of the property, right?
4%, yes.
4% per year.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Great program. Thank you.
Thank you. We are excited. And you're the one who invited your first client. Did they already fill out the application and get approved?
So what it means is I take the course, and then I can invite them, right?
Yep. Yeah, you can invite them directly within the portal, or you'll have your own code that you can actually go through.
Okay.
Or your own referral link that you can use.
And to be certified, I just sign up with the course with the information that you gave us in here with Jasmine.
Yep. And actually, one of the slides I just realized skipped in my presentation. So the process that we typically recommend, good thing you just brought this up because I did not realize I double clicked on one of the slides here. The way that a lot of people will think about their book of business and start inviting clients is a lot of times they'll reach out to clients who maybe pause their home buying journey or just outside the cusp of qualification. So think about their CRM and however you can sort it out. And typically the best practice is to filter your clients out by 550 credit score. We recommend using a minimum of 40,000. You may want to raise that depending on your specific market and the home prices. So if really you're looking for above 200,000, we'd recommend filtering it up to probably like 50,000 in household income. And someone that has 2% minimum of savings. So if they want a $200,000 house, make sure they have at least $4,000 in savings that they can show. And then we recommend things like creating social media posts, and you'll have your custom referral link within your Ally portal once you sign up. And then you can also leverage our social media templates, which are also within the portal. And we always recommend creating short videos. And the reason being is that education sometimes is just as important as advertising for the program. So if you could just give a quick snippet on what Landis does, oftentimes that works really well. And the final way is you can advertise your listings as rent to own. So if you have listings, you can use our pricing calculator to estimate what the rent would be. If you do something like this, we do recommend in your advertisement that you make sure you say it's a rent to own program, and you provide as much transparency as possible into the details of our underwriting process. Are there any additional questions, excitement, energy, love for Jasmine, Katie, and I? We don't get much of it nowadays. Oh, a heart, and I like that.
I'm excited, that's for sure.
I'm excited. I see a unique opportunity here. It's a complete different way to generate transactions right now in an atmosphere in a market where it's difficult to generate transactions. It opens up a pool of buyers that you can make a commission on right now when they can't afford to buy. They can lease and wait, because we know in Q1, Q2 of next year, interest rates are going to modify and there's going to be a frenzy, but these people will already be in their home if you get them qualified for it right now. So I'm really excited at the opportunity, and I hope you guys can see that potential.
Thanks, Jonathan.
And if you have
Any
questions,
further questions, just unmute yourself. Go ahead and ask. This is the trio right here, the three musketeers that can help guide you through the education of Landis and how to navigate this to your customers.
We
do have one in the chat.
They threw me off the horse, so I'm not following along with them.
We have a question in the chat on maintenance of the property during the rental period, which I think is a good point to touch on. So during the rental period, if there is an issue with the home, which of course we try to weed out these issues by conducting an inspection and looking to see if there are any issues in the property prior to acquisition. And by the way, we also pay for appraisal and inspection when Landis purchases the home, which is really important and exciting on the client side as well. But if there is something that needs repaired during the rental process, the client will cover anything up to $200, and then beyond $200, Landis and the client will split 50-50. We really want the client to think of this home as their own, and really treat the home as if they've already purchased it, and be excited to, be on the pathway to purchase this home. And so we want to kind of get them in that mindset. So that is our maintenance policy.
Sorry, can you repeat that? The maintenance during the rental period is, you pay what?
Sorry, Martha, would you mind repeating?
Yes, can you repeat the last part on the maintenance period?
Yeah, absolutely. So up to $200 for a maintenance issue, the client or the client will cover, and then beyond $200, Landis and the client will split 50-50.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. We also have a question in the chat, how long it takes to approve. So right now our approval time frame is about a week, but it generally is really dependent on how quickly we can get the documents from the client. So their pay stubs and their bank statements and those sorts of kind of basic documentation that we ask for during the approval process. We really ask for your help during that time. If there is a place where the client's getting stuck in terms of the application and submitting documents, we give them all the information that they need in order to locate the documents, and we offer support. But sometimes it just helps to have that extra nudge from you, their familiar face, to kind of support them when uploading that documentation. So any help you can give in regard to that would be wonderful.
And I have some other exciting news. We have a special promotion that we're running right now. Once you sign up, you have 45 days to get your first 2 clients approved. And once you do that, you are going to get a Visa gift card of $500. So hopefully you all can get, I encourage everyone to break our bank and get $500 in the first 45 days.
Hi, my name is Saeed, and I have a question. I have never done this rent to own, but I'm dealing with a lot of buyers right now. So just to make them understand, how does this, what is the average cost will be coming to them each month? Let's say they are buying a house for $500,000 in Miami, Florida.
So it's super dependent on the market and how much the client can put down in terms of their initial deposit. Their initial deposit affects their monthly payment because we also help them save throughout the time they're renting in the program every single month. So a portion of their monthly payment goes into a savings account that they will eventually use towards their down payment when they're ready for their own lending, so that they don't have to worry about coming up with that additional funds when they're ready to buy. So it truly is dependent on the exact market, because it's going to be a base fair market rent and then additional savings every month to get them towards that down payment goal. So my biggest suggestion is to visit our home calculator at landis.com/pricing. And you can play around with it, enter in your market, different home prices, different deposit amounts, and it will tell you exactly what the monthly payment will be.
And how long this process keeps going?
12 to 24 months.
12.
So we have a 12-month program and a 24-month program. When the client enters the program, we have a really good idea if we think they'll be ready in 12 months or 24 months. And we kind of put them on a pathway depending on where we see that going. If I saw in the chat, this was a question that came up. What happens if the client gets to 2 years and they don't buy the home at that time? Whatever reason that may be, that they didn't get their credit where it needed to be in the time frame that we thought, or whatever the case is. If the 24 months comes and they are not ready to buy, we absolutely want to work with them and extend the program until they are ready. If their goal is still to remain in the home and purchase that home, we will do everything we can to help get them there. So a part of that is extending the program if needed, absolutely, and continue coaching them until we, can get them there. If on the other side of the coin, they decide they want to exit the program, and that could be for a variety of different reasons, they get relocated, they decide they want to live in a different part of the city, things happen. It doesn't happen very often. But when it does happen, there is a 3% exit fee for the client to exit the program. And that would be taken from any deposit and savings we have gathered from the client throughout their time in the program. And then any overage in that account would be refunded to them.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Question in the chat, how much goes into their savings?
So it's very dependent on what they can do in an initial down payment. In the beginning, initial deposit. In total, we want the client to have about 6% in savings at the end of the program. So a portion of that's going to come in their deposit, and the remainder is split up and added to their monthly payment every single month. So if the client can do 3% in a deposit, we need to save up the remaining 3% throughout the time they're in the program. If they can do 5% in a deposit, we only need a remaining 1% throughout the time they're in the program. So it's very dependent. It's not like a flat percentage or anything like that. But again, you can really play around with those numbers in the home calculator.
So is it necessary that they have to be 1 year over there, or if they get a loan from somebody? Because nowadays, most of the buyers, they don't get the house because normally it's a cash offer. Okay, that's the biggest obstacle that most of the buyers, I mean, they are having like $20,000, $30,000, $35,000 in their pocket, but they cannot get a house because most of the time there is a cash buyer over there. So is it
Sure.
necessary that they are going to stay there for 1 year, or you know what I mean? Like
Yes, absolutely. I totally get what you're saying. And the good news is the client can purchase back at any point that they're ready. That's the goal. We're never going to hold them back from that. There's no penalty to purchase early, anything like that. If they get in the home and 1 month later they have their lending lined up, amazing. They can purchase the home back as soon as they are ready. In fact, we do have a lot of clients that utilize our program in order to leverage the cash buying power, right? They are FHA approved, they're VA approved, in some cases conventional approved, and they want to use our program to leverage our cash buying power. So that's kind of another way to think about our program, not necessarily for just unqualified clients, but people that are having a hard time getting their offer accepted and maybe, need that cash buying power. So absolutely, they can utilize our program for that. Just keep in mind that the buyback price is the flat 4% within the first 12 months. So that can be at any point, whether it's, 1 month later or 12 months.
Okay. You cannot quote us any example how this cost will come, like you are talking about the calculator, the pricing calculator. If you give example, let's say we are buying a house for $300,000 and a client is ready to pay like 5% down, and that calculation can be shown how it's going to work. Is it possible?
Yeah, I mean, Mark, any chance you'd want to pull up the home calculator and share screen? I think he's working on it. Oh, great question by Martha in the chat. What's the commission percentage? So the commission is going to be whatever is on the LMS, LMS, MLS. Landis does not take a split or a cut or anything like that. So you're going to get your full commission, whatever is listed. And Mark here is showing us the home calculator.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Renee, this is for Georgia as well.
So as you can see here, I put in all the information, and this is available to you at landis.com/pricing. You could put in your exact location, the MSA, as well as the home cost, add in your deposit, and get a hypothetical amount for how much the overall payment would be monthly, including what the rent would be, as well as the amount that we ask for savings to get them to the point of getting mortgage ready.
And keep in mind, it's a hypothetical, which what I really love about our program is that each application is underwritten by an actual person. So we're going to take in consideration their income, their monthly debt, and do the right thing on behalf of the client. So any questions that you guys have about potential clients that you're thinking of sending, feel free to reach out to me and run scenarios by me. But anybody that who has thought about getting into a home, definitely reach out to them and let them know. It's
Are you sure about that, Jasmine?
Yeah.
I thought it was all robots on that team.
No, they're all individuals. So, which I love. Free application, and it's a soft credit pull. So it does not negatively impact your clients anyway, just to apply and see where they end up.
I have a question. I see here that you have an amount for the rent itself and for savings for down payment. If one of our customers is trying to get into this program just because they don't know how the market will, develop during the next year. They're waiting to see if the interest rates go down again. Then the problem is not the down payment. It's not the credit score. It just they don't know if it is a good time to buy now because of the mortgage rates. There's a program where you don't have any savings. Do they have to hold the down payment in your account, or just show that they have the funds for the down payment? How does it work for that kind of situation? That was one of the ones that Mark mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah, so if they are in a situation where they have, their down payment saved, that's not the issue. They just want to leverage our cash. They would be able to eliminate the savings portion from their monthly payment by making the full 6% deposit in the beginning versus, 2, 3, 4%. We would have to hold it in our escrow account until they're ready to purchase. And then it would go directly towards their down payment and closing costs in the form of credits to the lender as soon as they're ready to buy. So again, if that's a month later, that's absolutely a possibility. But they do have to make the deposit to Landis and not just show the funds in order to move forward with the program.
Then in order to avoid the savings, they need to have a 6% down.
About that, yes.
And they have to deposit that with Landis.
Correct.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One more question. If somebody wants to have like a multi-family home, like a duplex or stuff, do you guys still do that?
We do not work with multifamily or duplex, triplex, anything like that. So we're strictly single family homes and fee simple townhomes.
Oh, okay. Not even condos, right?
No condos, unfortunately.
Single family and townhomes.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? I'm excited by all the questions that are coming forth and to get everybody going.
So in terms of communities and HOA, you would have to pay whatever fees there are in terms of the HOA fees, or your client would, not you.
What do you mean? Let's say it's a house, but it has a homeowners association, or it's a townhouse and it has a homeowner association, and you have to pay $180 per month for common areas like the community pool, whatever. In that case, the tenant has to pay for the homeowners association?
Yes. So the client does pay for any monthly or annual homeowners association fees. We do take that into consideration when considering a home for a client. So if we know that they are going to be maxed at X monthly payment and there's an HOA, we do take that into consideration to not over, leverage the client. We want them to be comfortable with their monthly payments. So we're going to look at everything that's going to go into that when considering a home for them. In terms of HOAs, it does have to be a community that allows renters. Technically, during the time period, the client, before they're actually purchasing the home, they are signing a lease and renting from Landis technically until they purchase. So the HOA does have to allow rentals in order for us to purchase in that community.
But again, the monthly payment or yearly payment is not included on the rent, and they have to pay directly to the homeowners association.
Correct.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Another question, what if the property appraises for less than 24 months?
Jasmine, you want to take that one?
Sure, it's my favorite question. So a couple of things, because we want to make sure everything we do at Landis leads to home ownership for the client. So if it's a situation where there's a gap we suggest the client continues to rent to save up some more money for down payment and closing costs. That's the biggest takeaway that I have for that question. But we really want to make sure we're doing the right thing on behalf of the client. When we first started our program in 2020, it was a 12-month program. COVID happened, so we ended up extending it to 24 months. And that's just to show our faith that we're really big on homeownership and standing by our clients and doing the right thing on their behalf.
And the other thing I would just say from like a business perspective is, as you know, you guys are asking a lot about like price and cost, and we only make money if the client purchases it back, which is why we're so hell bent on just making sure that people get to the graduation point and provide that coaching. Because as you see, we charge fair market rent, and you know, we don't want to have to sell the home at the end of the program. We want to make sure that the client purchases it back. That's what's in our best interest, and that's why every single incentive that we have in place ensures that. So if at the end of the program we have to do something like extend it out a couple more months, we really will do everything possible to make sure that this client becomes a homeowner. If for whatever reason the client ends up in a situation where they just can't purchase the home, we do end up having to resell it right away. And then there's a 3% relisting fee, which is obviously just because we have to resell the house.
And just to piggyback off that, we have that 80% graduation rate, but all of the clients who graduated as the homeowners graduated with equity. So it's a good thing to keep in mind.
Robinson, maybe. Any final questions here?
I didn't completely understand the last question in reference to if the property changes financially within the 24-month period. Can you explain that to me? For some reason, it didn't connect.
So I think you're asking to re-explain what happens if the house doesn't appraise at the time of purchase when the client goes to purchase. So what Jasmine was pretty much saying is at that point, we would have a couple of options. What we would likely do is, and it hasn't happened up to this point, thankfully, we would likely extend the program for the client until they could save up enough with our down payment savings plan to make up the difference with the appraisal. The purpose of the extension of the program as well would be to get another appraisal done and hope that it meets the appraisal at that point. But we would likely extend until the client could make up the difference, or if they do have the difference, they can make it up at any point as well. Our goal is for this client to become a homeowner, and we're going to do what we need to do and what we can do to help them get there.
Understood. Now I completely understand. I think the question that possibly another colleague had was, today it's $300,000 when Landis purchase it. 2 years from now, it might be $225,000. What happens then? If
it were a huge, I think your question is if it's a huge discrepancy.
Right, because as we're noticing now, the numbers are really starting to drop. What was 700,000 is now 550, and even though we're looking at between 300 to 500,000, those numbers could change. And how does that work for you guys, because you purchased a beautiful property at 300,000 and all the neighbors within that community, you know, start selling at 250, 275, or, you know, even worse, 260, and you purchased at 300. So what they have to come up with the $40,000 because you purchased at 300,000. How does that work? Because that's almost, hopefully that's not what's happening, but that's what we're starting to see. Numbers are dropping.
Sure, and it's a great question. So basically, what happens if there is a really large discrepancy on the appraisal a year later, 2 years down the road? Mark, do you want to chime in here?
Pretty much the same thing, I would assume, because again, you guys are giving them this opportunity. What happens? You can't keep walking away from loss to loss to loss to loss. But I'm just wondering, because of how the numbers have, I'm starting to see that, you know, as I check the numbers on a weekly basis, they are dropping $25,000 to $40,000 so far in the past couple of months.
Mhm. So there's certain things in our control and certain things that are out of our control, right? If the
And I
market
get
just
that.
sort of, if the market tanks like that in terms of that percentage, then, you know, we are going to have to figure out a situation to help the client. Otherwise, we're just going to eat the cost on it. It's just bad business for us by all perspectives. We haven't had to formalize a policy because we haven't run into the situation yet. Are we naive to think that this won't happen over the next 2 years? No. At the same time, once again, we will do whatever's in the client's interest to try to make sure that they get into the home. Whether there's a portion of it that's being made up via a gap by the client, if possible, whether we have to make up a gap, you know, there's a lot of things that we have to take into consideration. As Jasmine mentioned, when COVID happened, we were a 12-month program. We extended out. So maybe it's giving people, you know, an additional 12 months with the average rates going up annually of 4 to 5%. The hope is that over the course of time, this doesn't happen. If there's a short-term drop, that it picks up over a period of time as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any last questions?
Is it possible we can get sort of publishing material like advertisement, yeah, like a brochure that we can work through our clients, that we can send them?
Yep, absolutely. So we do have marketing materials, flyers you can send to your client, different collateral and materials that are available within the agent portal. There is a marketing materials section. So I definitely recommend getting in your portal, browsing around, and checking out the resources we have available in there as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And speaking of portal, if you guys haven't received an invitation to register, you can send me an email. If you're in Florida or if you're outside of Florida, you can send it to our partner's email address, and I'm going to drop it in the chat here. Also, just make sure you check your spam and your promotional folders as well.
And by a raise of hands, now that we are an hour in, has anyone else invited their first client yet? I'm sure everyone's being shy.
Does anyone have a client in mind that they think would be a good fit for the program that you might send an invite to by the end of the day? I see a thumbs up from Martha.
Get that $500 for your first 2 approved. Thank you everyone so much for your time. Jasmine has put her her address in here as well as the partners at Landis. We are, as Jonathan mentioned, we are very excited to partner with you. Or Stephanie,
Thanks so
by the
much,
way,
guys.
it's mobile friendly, the website. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Bye now.